Harihi Om Shruti Smriti Alayam Karunalayam Namame Bhagavad Pada Shankaram Loka Shankaram Bhaktiyatvananyaya Shakyaha Ahamevam Vidhorjuna Jnatun Drashtuncha Tatvena Praveshtuncha Parantapa. So we were looking at Ananya Bhakti, the devotion, which is the love, which can also be called the love of Ishvara, is Ananya. There is no other in it. So Shankara says, you can say the Bhashya, Ananya Bhakti Sarvairapi Karanaihi Vasudevadanyad Nopalabhyate Yayasa Ananya Bhakti. So he looks at the Ananya Bhakti in a second way. First one definition he gave, we have seen it. So he says, so Sarvairapi Karanaihi. So you are looking at things. So what is it that you are looking at? You are looking at none other than Vasudeva. He uses the word Vasudeva. It doesn't mean the son of Vasudeva. In Gita, in the Bhashyas, we do not talk of progenies and lineages and all that. This is not some kind of a personality promotion. Here, Vasudeva, son of Dasharatha, son of Kunti, not son of Devaki and Vasudeva, that is not the point. Vasudevaha is Vasushchasau Devascha. That is Vasudevaha. So, aham sakala mahamedancha Vasudevaha. Like that there is a saying from Bhagavatam. In Gita itself, Vasudeva sarvamiti samahatma sudurlabhaha. You hear that. So the earlier line would be Bahunam janmanamante jnanavan mam prapadyate Vasudeva sarvamiti samahatma sudurlabhaha. Now if you say Vasudeva, the son of Vasudeva, it's all right, nothing wrong in it. The word can mean that. But that just doesn't fit into the context. There is a verse which is quite often recited, and it comes from Vishnu Purana. You must have heard that verse, at least some of you. Vasanad Vasudevasya Vasitante Jagatrayam Sarvabhuta Nivasosi Vasudeva Namostute. Like that. So, Ishvara is called Vasudeva because he is Vasu and he is Deva. You see, when you give a name to a thing and give it the status of an object, so before you do that, that is the Namarupa, So you cognize a form, Rupa, and give a name. Like pot, this is pot, you say. So when you say this is pot, so before you come to that potness, and before you designate this as pot, the thing as pot, thereby giving a distinct status of an object among the collection of objects, right? Before you do that, two things are there, two things happen. One, the thing is evident, then only you can see its form and based on the form give a name to it. The thing is evident, bhati, and because it is evident, therefore it exists, asti. It is bhati, it is asti, and then it is pot. When you open the eyes, it is bhati. The eyes cognize it, or the eyes see it, and then say asti, and then the mind comes forth and provides the naming thing. The mind has the software. Mind is the software, and therefore based on the shape, and it recognizes as a given object and therefore calls it part, the name given, and so that is how it has become part of the collection of objects. This is how it works. Normally people miss the evidence and existence part, and they are stuck with the Nama-Rupa part. They come to the Nama-Rupa. They look with the eyes and arrive at the Nama-Rupa, skipping these two initial stages. What are the initial stages which are skipped routinely? The first one is bhati, becoming evident. It is evident. That is called epistemical. Epistemology, epistemical means it becomes evident. One way or the other. It becomes evident to the eyesight, or it becomes evident to the ears, or to the nose, or whatever. It becomes evident. Like I suddenly entered into a room and said, means something is becoming evident. Even to my nose, which is mostly blocked, but still something is becoming evident. And then because something is becoming evident, that something exists. There must be jasmines here, I said. That is the Nama-Rupa. Jasmines is the Nama-Rupa. Okay? With the eyes, the distinction is not so clear, because the evidence, existence and Nama-Rupa, everything is coalesced into one quick single movement. And therefore you cannot find the distinction clearly. But with the nose you can find clearly. And with the ears also you can find. Hey, there is somebody. There is a sound. First you hear the sound, and therefore there must be something which makes that sound. And now based on the quality of the sound, the pitch, the frequency, etc., you can decide that it is a lorry or a bus or a car. You will decide. The Nama-Rupa will come at the end. Therefore, what happens is we are so totally attached to the Nama-Rupa that we miss the earlier steps. The two earlier steps you have to pay attention to. So Deva is becoming evident. Vasu, existential. Therefore it is evident. Therefore it exists. Or you can say the other way also, it exists. Therefore it is evident. That is how from its side it exists, it is, and it is evident. It becomes evident. From the eyesight side, from the cognitive side, it is evident, therefore it is. Asti bhati, bhati asti. Vasu is asti, Deva is bhati. Okay? And the rest is all Nama-Rupa. Therefore, you look at any object and cognize it as a part or as anything else. So, before you come to the cognition of the Nama-Rupa, there is Asti Bhati intrinsic to that thing. And that Asti Bhati is Ishvara. That is called Vasudeva. Okay? Therefore, you cognize the Nama-Rupa, you are aware of the Nama-Rupa, but you should learn to be aware of the presence. That is the word, the presence. So, when you look at the river, be aware of the presence. Don't rush to the naming part, that it is river and that it is Ganga, like that. Ganga is Ganga, river is river. Don't rush to that. It is a presence. You can see the presence. You can hear the presence. But more than that, you can feel the presence, the river. When you look at the river, you see the shape all right, but you can feel the presence. Are you following what I say? You can feel the presence. So, like it is something like, I close my eyes and touch. Now I feel the presence very acutely, I feel it. Because the Nama-Rupa is not coming in the way. Whereas when I look at it, immediately the table, the cloth, like that the Nama-Rupa comes and hits in the face. They hit in the face, thereby I miss the presence aspect of it. On the other hand, if you have a mechanism to keep the Namarupa at bay, keep it suspended for a while, it will come later, but just for a fraction of a second, you delay the Namarupa thing. Namarupa will come, but before that, what is it? It is the presence. And the feeling of presence. The presence, Vasu, and you feel it, you know it, you are aware of it. So that is Deva, Vasudeva, the presence. Therefore, you are looking at the river, you feel the presence. You are looking at the mountain, you feel the presence. And then you are moving around, you are able to move around because of the presence called space. Space is the Namarupa. Space is the name given to a mental form, not a physical form. Space has no physical form, but there is a mental form. It is an element, etc. And you give the name to it as a space. But when you move around in space, space is that in which you move around. That is a presence. And earth is a presence. You can feel the presence of earth under your feet through the sense of touch. And you can feel the presence of wind. Wind presence you can feel. In fact, if you understand how the birds fly, they create a wind thrust, a buoyancy they create out of wind. Like a ship sails because of the buoyancy of the water. Water pushes up. Water doesn't allow to sink. That's why when a person falls into water, the human body gravity, not gravity, specific gravity of the human body is 0.9. Water specific gravity is 1. That is the universal standard 1. So the body specific gravity is 0.9. Therefore body will float in water. If only you don't struggle. People, they are submerged, and so they sink and die because they struggle. If only they remain calm without struggling, then water floats them, pushes them up. Water, it doesn't allow you to sink. It allows you to float. It provides the buoyancy to float. That is how a ship sails. And similarly, the wind provides a buoyancy. It allows things to float. That's why a kite flies. It floats and flies. A bird, it flies in the space. And an aeroplane which weighs tons, it weighs some 30-40 tons, the huge weight it is, it floats. First it floats and then it moves forward. It creates a thrust, it provides a cushion of air underneath, and that cushion of air provides a thrust, and that is how it keeps floating in the air. So it's a presence, a huge, tremendous presence, such a powerful presence that keeps an aeroplane up. That wind presence it is. So like that, whatever sense organ you are employing, to cognize the things, in all of those things, the presence has to be felt. You should feel the presence and understand that presence as Ishvara. This is called Bhakti, Ananya Bhakti. So when I walk, I am walking on the earth. I call it earth, but it is the presence. I feel the presence under my feet. When I inhale and exhale, I feel the presence in the lungs and in the nostrils. When I see the presence in the form of, later comes the form, the presence which is the mountain, the presence which is the river, etc. And when I hear the sounds, I hear the presence, like I hear the thunder. That makes me feel the presence. So I hear sounds that helps me feel the presence. So it is always the presence and the feeling of the presence, not just presence. The presence which is experienced, which is felt. That is the Deva, Deva is the feeling, the awareness of the presence. So this is how you feel the presence of Ishvara with all the 5 sense organs. That is called Ananya Bhakti. It's okay, it sounds a bit philosophical. It is philosophical also. But it is simple. It need not be just a philosophical, speculative thing. It could be very simple. Like when Mahatma says, you find the real and blissful aspects of the elements. That is what he says. That is what the advice given. You look at the elements, 5 elements, 5 sense organs and 5 elements. You find, you be conscious of, always be conscious of the blissful and real aspects of the 5 elements. Like earth, Prithvi. So Shri Krishna says in 15th chapter, Gama Vishyacha Bhutani Dharayamyaham Ojasa. So Prithvi has a power, Ojas is power, a power by which it upholds all the life forms. That is the real aspect of Prithvi. We are not conscious of the real aspect of Prithvi. We do not feel the reality called Prithvi. Not the real and the blissful aspect. You see the Prithvi, it upholds the forests. And the forests inhale all the carbon dioxide exhaled by us. And they exhale the oxygen, supplying the oxygen to be inhaled by us. So it is a nice coexistence between human beings and the mammals and the forests, the flora and the fauna. Fauna, the mammals and other human beings, birds and animals, and the flora. A nice coexistence. You look at that blissful aspect of that. So you see the arrangement. There is a very dramatic experiment. You take a plant, a sapling, and put a dome on it, a glass dome. Very soon the sapling withers away because there is no air available to it. Because it is closed, in the closed environment, in the closed place, it consumes all the carbon dioxide and gives up oxygen, and no more carbon dioxide available to us. Therefore it withers away. You put a mouse inside that glass dome-like thing, the mouse will soon die. But if you put a plant and a mouse and close them with a glass dome, they live together happily. Because the plant consumes carbon dioxide, gives oxygen continuously. And the mouse consumes oxygen and gives up carbon dioxide content. They live together happily. They won't die. Both will be flourishing well for a certain length of time. Very dramatic experiment. You followed the experiment? This is the blissful aspect of the elements around us. Therefore, what we do is, we divide. We are not conscious of the Prithvi. Generally, we are not conscious of Prithvi. We are conscious of roads, buildings, and properties. This is my property, that is your property, like that. We are conscious of those unreal and painful aspects of the creation, of the Namarupas. Only that we are conscious of. We are not conscious of the blissful and real aspects of the elements. Like Prithvi, it upholds the forests, make life possible. There is life only on Prithvi. No other planet upholds life. There is no life on Mars or on Venus or Jupiter. On any planet there is no life. All the planets are same in as much as they go around the earth, go around the sun, and they receive the sunlight and all that. So they are part and parcel of the same system, but they don't uphold life. Only the earth upholds life. That is the Gama Vishyacha Bhutani Dharayami Aham Ojasa. Bhutani is the living beings. So that is the blissful and real aspect of the element earth. Then coming to the water, mostly in India we pollute water. We don't know the value of water. One person told, Indians know the value of land, they don't know the value of water. That's why in a city like Hyderabad, all the ponds and tanks and water sources were covered up and converted into real estate lands, and buildings are made and sold and money is made. That means water has no value. If there is a tank, water tank, a pond, it has no value. We put all our sewage into that pond. All the waste of the town is dumped into the water. It will putrefy, We should not dump solid waste into water body. But that is what we do. And then finally, the worst part of it is, we cover up the pond by bringing the debris of building construction. Whenever you construct building, a lot of debris is generated. All the debris is dumped into this pond, and finally it is not a pond anymore. And therefore we occupy it. People encroach upon the pond and convert it into real estate land and build houses and cells. This is what we do with a water body. So we don't appreciate the blissful and the real aspect of the element called water. We don't know the value of water. If you go to London, there the river Thames is there. It is the purest river in the world. You can just drink water from Thames. The same is the case with other rivers in US, etc. Rivers are very pure. The natural water it is. No human contamination. No human being puts anything into those water bodies. So they treat them as if they are God. They don't pronounce them as God, but treat with all devotion the treatment that is deserving of a God thing. Like that they treat. Whereas all water bodies we name after gods. We say Ganga. And we sing glory of Ganga. Just mumbling of sentences only. Sing means you just sing with tala, gana, bhajana and recite a few verses and be done with it. You may not even know what is going on in those verses. Somebody who hears those verses and he happens to know some Sanskrit, he can figure out what is going on. Not the bunch who is singing it. Very unusual thing. There may be some worthy exceptions to what I say. And then I dump everything into Ganga. The whole Rishikesh sewage goes into Ganga. And every ashram contributes its sewage. You know how the ashrams are built on the banks of Ganga? When they build an ashram, they encroach Ganga land. They encroach the water, the land which is the river land it is. It is the river's part it is. It is not our land. It is the land of the river. In summer you may not find any water there, but still it is the land of the river, We encroach upon it. We push the river to the other side. And people on the other side push the river to this side. You look at Rishikesh, look at Kashi, and then the river struggle to flow in between. And if there is a flood, we complain. There will be a flood because we have encroached upon the flood plains, therefore there will be flood. And then every ashram, when there are so many devotees living in the ashram, where is the sewage going? People should pay attention to where it is going. We are not treating the sewage, we are just releasing it into something somewhere. Where is it going? It must be going to the lower level, and that must be Ganga. But we are singing songs in the praise of Ganga, and no effort is made by any ashram, severally or in collective way, to address this issue. Simply because we are not conscious of it. In spite of our prayers and all that, we are not conscious of the blissful and real aspect of the element water. We are very hypocritical people, I say. This is hypocrisy at its zenith, at the highest hypocrisy. This is all a digression from my side. Don't mind. So the point which I wanted to make is water. Be aware of the blissful and real aspects of the element water. Shri Krishna says in Gita, Rasoham apsu kaunteya. Hey Kaunteya, aham apsu rasaha. In the water or waters, there is a quality called rasa. That is the blissful and real aspect of the element water. That expression is a beautiful expression. You hold on to that expression, it inspires. That's why I am repeating it. Therefore, rasa, it quenches the thirst, it gives energy to the body, it is life. Water is also called jivanam, it is life. And that rasa of the element water is Ishvara. And then fire. The blissful and real aspect of fire. Agni. So, aham vaishvanaro bhutva praninam dehamashritaha pranapana samayuktaha pachamyannam chaturvidham. The fire inside the body. Fire is not necessarily some wood and some flames coming. So, there is fire in the body. You see, the body remains at 37 degrees, all 37.4 or whatever, right? 37 degrees all the way. Even if you are sitting outside where the temperature is 0 degrees, you may feel very cold, but the body remains 37 degrees. Why do you feel cold? Because the body is struggling to maintain the temperature. It remains at that normal temperature. It won't become cool. If it cools, then the organs will be compromised and the person will die. Hypothermia. But to the extent possible, the body maintains that heat. That is the Agni inside the body. There is fire inside the body and there is fire everywhere. And that Agni, so the Vedic rishis looked at Ishvara as the fire. They had the altar of fire for Ishvara. They looked at fire as the altar of Ishvara. Agnimide, Purohitam. So they offered all their oblations into the fire. Once the oblation is poured into the fire, it is as good as you have poured the oblation, you have offered the oblation to Ishvara. Agni, fire, is the blissful and the real aspect of the element Agni. The heat, the digestive power, and the power of Agni, etc. And then Vayu. Again, the blissful and the real aspect of Vayu. Namaste Vayu. Tvameva pratyaksham brahmasi. The Vayu is the Brahma. Brahma there, Hiranyagarbha, the creator. That is the Brahma, Saguna Brahma. So you are the Brahma, and the Hiranyagarbha, where is Hiranyagarbha? You cannot see the Hiranyagarbha, you know. But you can indeed see the Hiranyagarbha in the form of Vayu. You can feel the life-giving power of Vayu as you inhale and exhale. That is the Pratyaksham Brahmasi. Therefore, the Vayu has this, it gives life. In fact, if you meditate upon inhalation and exhalation, you can see inhalation is joy. You have to meditate upon it, then you will discover. Inhalation is joy. Exhalation gives you a small anxiety. When you are exhaling, if you watch, you can see a little anxiety in the system. Because the system, it is now exhaling, it is anxious to inhale. It has to conclude this exhalation and inhale again. That's why the system is ever so slightly anxious. There is a little anxiety, if you notice it. And while you are inhaling, there is joy, there is bliss, because the life-giving oxygen is coursing through the body. So that is the inhalation and exhalation. That is one way. Another way, while inhaling, you can feel the power of life. While exhaling, you can see the death. You can feel the power of death. Because exhalation is death, inhalation is life. All that is there in that Vayu. So these are, the life and death are together, you know. They are always together. Therefore, these are the blissful and the real aspects of all the five elements. Akasha. Akasha is a Shabda. Shabda Gunakam Akasham. You are able to hear the sounds because of Akasha, but then you are able to move around in Akasha. You just compare yourself with the situation of a fish, and you look at the fish, how blissfully it is moving around in water. imagine the fish without water. It will be struggling to live, it will die. So we are like that. We are very much similar to that. In the atmosphere, we are moving around blissfully, inhaling and exhaling. So that is the Vayu. And then the space in which we are moving around, that is the space which represents the power of gravity, and so that upholds our existence on this planet. This is how Akasha. Akasha is such a powerful, blissful element that it is considered the outer garment of Ishvara. Akasha Shariram Brahma. Therefore, these are the 5 elements, and you are aware of the blissful and the real aspects of these 5 elements. So, means what? You are constantly aware of the presence as earth, as waters, as fire, as wind, and as space. So, the presence of Ishvara as the 5 elements. You are constantly aware. And then the sun, the presence of Ishvara in the form of the sun, and the moon. So the sun and moon are counted. And then the Ishvara is within you too, as life, or as the awareness in you. This is the Ashtamurti. Including you, it is the Ashtamurti. So this is how you constantly feel the presence of Ishvara in your life. This is called Ananya Bhakti, because in this feeling, in this realization, there is no other. Only Ishvara is as the blissful and real aspects of the 5 elements. So this kind of a vision is called Ananya Bhakti. You see, when you go to a temple, you accept the smallest piece of stone as the divinity. And so if a small piece of stone could be accepted as the divinity, there should be no difficulty in accepting or in seeing the divinity in all the other things of the entire world. And so the entire world is nothing but divinity. You see, a small piece of stone, you are able to see it as divine, accept it as divinity. There should be no problem in seeing the divinity in the entire creation. Right? So you have to look at it like that. Now I am coming to the aspect of idol image worship. So that is how you have to look at this idol. So in a given context, you look at the idol and accept it as divinity, and you walk out. Why can't you accept the tree as the divinity? Something is wrong with your thinking. Why can't you accept the mountain peak as the divinity when you could accept a piece of stone as the divinity? What is wrong with you? Why can't you accept a river as divinity? Why can't you accept a cow or a dog or as a kid or any human being who is moving around? A stone can be divinity, but a human being is not worth being seen as divinity. So a lady asked me, what do you mean by Pativrata? Husband is God? I said, yeah, why not? Do you do some puja? Yes, I do. Puja of what? Some idol. When idol could be God, the poor guy is walking around, he is a living guy. Can't he be a God? What is the problem? No, then I am also God. That is his problem. You talk about your problem. Therefore, people who worship the idol with the limited idea that the idol alone is divinity, the idol alone is divinity, with that limited idea, when they worship the idol, those people are steeped in ignorance. That is ignorance. So, bhakti consists in fixing the attention on the real and blissful aspects of the entire creation. So you reduce the entire creation to the 5 elements, because that is what it is. It is only Pancha Bhautikam, the world of the universe of 5 elements. And now it is easy, just 5 elements. You are always dealing with five elements. You are walking on earth and you are inhaling the air, you are dealing with five elements only. You are in the embrace of the five elements. Even the body is five elements. And therefore, you can feel the real and blissful aspect of the entire world in terms of the five elements. This is possible only when you rise above the names and forms. Once you give the name to a form, name goes with form and vice versa. Once that aspect comes into the focus, then the divinity aspect will be gone. It will be covered. This is called Hiranmayena Patrena Satyasyapi Hitam Mukham. The Hiranmaya Patra means the glittering golden disc covers up the face of the truth. Means the glittering golden is glitter, very, very powerfully attracting your attention. That is the glitter of a golden disc. Once the attention is fixed on this glitter, the truth is covered up. That is the Vakya from the Upanishad. Hiranmayena Patrena Satyasya Mukham Apihitam. Apihitam is covered. Apihitam is same as Pihitam. With A and without A, it means the same. This is called Bhaguri Lopa, Akara Lopa of Bhaguri. Anyway, so the face is covered. The real meaning of that is the golden disc, the glittering golden disc is Namarupa. That is the glittering golden disc. Suppose you look at a child. Immediately you would like to know whose child it is. That is Namarupa, And then which caste, everything will follow. Male, female, everything is Namarupa. But you can keep all that aside and see the divinity in the child. But if you allow the Namarupa to come in quickly, they will come in very quickly. Not because they are just waiting and therefore come and cover up, but because of the cognitive apparatus is addicted like that. The cognitive apparatus, the sense organs and the mind put together, they are habituated like that. They are addicted to deal or relate to the Namarupa only. And therefore that cognitive mechanism, it covers up the reality behind the Namarupa. Therefore, you have to be cautious about it. You should avoid this Namarupa. That's why I always insist that you learn to give up the Namarupa. Don't, already the child is dirty and now goes and plays in more dirt. That is not the way to get rid of dirt, So a dirty person who goes and sits in the dirt, what will happen? So similarly, you are so much attached to the Namarupa and therefore you purchase cameras and selfies, this and that, and increase the attachment to the Namarupa. And in the temples also. They started with a simple temple like Rama temple. But then the Namarupa takes over. And then they will put Krishna there, they will put Shiva here, they will put Navagraha there, they will put Ayappa there, they will put Baba here, Ganapati there. Rama we have put Hanuman, we did not put. So put Hanuman. But Hanuman's wife we did not put. They put Hanuman's wife also. So they make it so complex. They are on a Namarupa spree. That is what people are. These devotees, it is devotitis, I tell you. Some kind of a stupidity, some kind of a very deep-rooted ignorance operates. And therefore the Namarupa, it is a Namarupa spree, increasing the Namarupa's involvement in the Namarupas more and more and more. And therefore already the problem is there, the Namarupa covering up the truth. Now the situation is exacerbated by further attachment to the Namarupa. That's why I say it. My voice is a cry in the wilderness, I suppose so. Sometimes I feel and people tell me, mine is a lone voice also. Please don't think that I am saying something about me, but this is what people tell me, and I too feel. It is a lone voice. I don't know why it is so. At least in a given context it is a lone voice, not the lone voice of the entire universe. But in a given context, it is the lone voice. And sometimes it sounds like a cry in the wilderness. So people, they are after Namarupa. They are so busy with their Namarupas and with the rituals associated with the Namarupa, etc. They are so busy that they are not willing to dilute their attachment to the Namarupa. Then what kind of Ananya Bhakti I am talking about? So you see, this Ananya Bhakti, it is given as a, you see, suppose a piece of stone is there. You put inside the Ganga. It is completely submerged by water. But if you take out, the water will evaporate soon. That is a very, very temporary kind of bhakti. Whereas if you keep a piece of cloth in the water and it is soaked with water, now you take out, the water will be retained for a long time. But then something is, you just take a candy or sugar, a lump of sugar and put in water, it just merges in water. 3 levels of bhakti. That is what I was trying to say. 3 levels of bhakti. So it is like a piece of stone you put in water and put on the surface again. So like that we put the mind into God morning 15 minutes and take out. And in the evening 15 minutes and take out. The rest of the time it is put in the world only, nothing to do with God anymore. It becomes dry. Whatever godly divinity aspect has come to it, it was sticking to it, it will be gone soon. Now you become a worldly person within 5 minutes. 15 minutes in the divinity. By the 20th minute, all the divinity is over. You are not divinity anymore. You are not connected to divinity anymore. You become a very worldly person. On the other hand, you keep the mind with the divinity and keep it there, keep it going and going and going. And then you retain the divinity for a longer time, like a piece of cloth retaining water. And finally, you merge in the divinity. The third level of merger in the divinity means you are uninterruptedly conscious of the divine glory. Because you cannot be away from the 5 elements. Only thing is the Namarupa is the obstacle. That is the only obstacle. You are not sleeping whole day. You are in fact keeping awake for more than 16 hours or 15, 16 hours you are keeping awake. And all through that period of the day, most of the daytime, most of the time of a day in which time you are awake, you are constantly conscious of the Namarupa only. That is the misfortune. On the other hand, if you develop the knack of dismissing the Namarupa, Namarupa has no value. Like for example, you come across a human being. You do not pay attention to his caste, creed, race, religion, gender, etc. And you are particularly conscious of the divinity in that person. There is divinity in him. There is eyesight in him. He is able to see. Therefore, the eye behind the eye. He is able to think. Therefore, the faculty of thinking. Behind the faculty of thinking, there is a power which makes the mind capable of thinking. And he is walking. There is a power of life in his legs. So, there is divinity in him. It is so patently obvious, the divinity. You are conscious of that. You will be conscious of that only when you ignore or you learn to ignore all the Namarupa. So this is the verse in Gita. Suhrun mitrar yudasena madhyastha dveshya bandhushu sadhushvapicha papeshu samabuddhir vishishyate. You come across a benefactor, suhrut, a friend who gives help to you and who takes help from you, and an enemy who has done some wrong to you. Udasina, who is a neutral person, you don't know him much. Madhyastha, who is a kind of neither a friend nor a foe. He is somewhere in the middle, he fits in the middle, he is well known to you. Bandhu is a relation to you, some brother-in-law kind of a relative. And then you know the person having a good conduct, sadhu. And also you are aware of the person engaging in some criminal acts. Papa. These are the people. In all these people, you are aware of the same divinity. When all these people come before you, you are aware of the divinity which is equal in all of them. So to be able to do that, you should overcome the Namarupa, The Namarupas I have described, they are all the Namarupa. Suhrut is Namarupa, Mitra is Namarupa. Rupa need not be physical form all the time. It could be a mental form also. The mental form will have a name. Like my friend. Friend is a mental form and you give a name to it. Friend is the name and that corresponds to a mental form. Like a criminal, it's a mental form, not a physical form. Physical form is the human being. So this way, the mental forms associated with names, the physical forms associated with names, they have become a huge collection, a plethora of names and forms, so much so we are soaked, we are overwhelmed by these names and forms, and finally we are left with nothing else. Because the names and forms are not real. There is no reality in the names and forms. I suppose when you worship a variety of gods, you understand that it is the same God. I hope so. I hope you are worshipping like that. Even if that is also not there in place, then you have to struggle to understand the oneness and all that. Therefore, this is the Ananya Bhakti in the devotion, in which devotion you are aware of divinity and divinity and divinity, and you are aware of nothing else other than divinity. That is the Ananya Bhakti. So, having mentioned the question of image worship or the worshipping of idols, I suggested that we have to rise above names and forms. You see, when you write a letter or you write a sentence on a piece of paper and then the person is reading it. Now, is he relating to the form of the letters and words? No, he is not relating to the form of the letters and words. He rises above the forms of letters and words and sentences. He rises above, while reading the book you rise above and you get the meaning, you capture the meaning. Don't you see that movement there? Suppose here is a person who knows only the alphabet but doesn't know any meaning. He is reading it. Like I tried to read this Russian language, Russian words, all syllables, that alphabet is very similar to English. You can see that. And you can sentence words. Each word you can figure out what is the word. You can pronounce also. Occasionally you come across a syllable which you don't know, but most of the syllables are known. And so you are looking at the syllables, you are relating to their forms, then through the syllables you are relating to the form of a word. Are you okay with that description? But you don't know anything about the meaning.